lovelies. This is Stephanie with Chubby Girl in the World, and today we are going to talk about eyeshadow palettes I love, but everyone else doesn't seem to share the love. Actually, let me bring you in just a little bit closer. I'm in my bedroom sipping hot tea. It's a really cold and stormy night. I'm just cozying up and I've got candles burning and I am just really loving the smell. This isn't sponsored in any way, but this is the Haven Street Candle Company crisp black currant and bourbon. It smells so good. It smells, and it comes in this really pretty blue thing. I bought this at Ross for like $5.99. Like, do not sleep on Ross. But it's just this really pretty, like, sweet but not too sweet scent, and just like a little tiny bit like honey-ish, but it still has that sort of berry scent too. So let me get the camera. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so my hair's not done. This is my end of day makeup, and sorry if you can hear my hair rustling. But let me there we go. Okay, well, it's just gonna stay like that. I don't really care. Yeah, I have 4 palettes here that I feel like either, 3 of the palettes I feel like people in the community, like in the beauty community, definitely don't like. I feel like they don't appreciate them the way I appreciate them, and I just want to give my thoughts on them. And then one of them, I really love the palette, but it's like my problem child. Like, I love the looks that achieves it, but like you'll see. So the first one is the Venus 2 palette from Lime Crime. Now, I know Lime Crime has been really, so it's the Lime Crime 2 palette, and Lime Crime has been problematic in the past. Their former CEO, Doe Deer, did things like dress up like the leader of the 1940s. I don't want to get the. Well, I mean, my channel's not monetized, but I guess I can say it because my channel's not monetized, so it doesn't matter. She dressed up like Hitler for Halloween. Like, it was not a good look. Like, it was not a good look. And she's just said, like, really problematic things in the past. She's no longer associated with the brand. So as far as I know, it's kind of like, basically she sold her interest in the brand and she's no longer the creative director. So, like, she got her bag and then left. And so, like, I believe the way it is now that she doesn't make any money from the brand. Now that that's out of the way, I purchased this with Ulta points, and I waited for a sale, and it was $19, and I love the grungy colors in here. I love this mustardy yellow. I love this green. Now, there are 2 very disappointing colors, and that's this bright blue here. It's so powdery that it's very, very hard to get this to stick on the eyes. And there's that one, and this gold color is just really... This gold color is, like, it's pretty, but it's not... I don't even want to swatch it because it really doesn't show up on camera. This is not the palette for you if you want something really, like, bold and metallic and, like, you want it to be very like, noticeable. This is a grungy palette. Now, again, these, I have significant dips here in, I think it's called Mud and Jam, these orange ones. So these are my 2 favorites in this mustard color here. This color, this marsh color, it's fine, but it's not my favorite grungy green, right? My favorite grungy green is actually in the Mandalorian palette from ColourPop. I love those ones. But this pigeon one, this is a duochrome. Like, this was when duochromes were, like, brand new. This is that, like, brown to this, like, oh gosh, it's like a brown to copper or like a green to copper shift kind of. It looks sort of like oil slicky almost on the eyes. And then this boot color is a shimmery, it's supposed to be a shimmery black, but it's really just a matte black with like sparkle in it, which I don't really love those colors because the whole point of a black is to like darken up the outer corner, right? Or at least that's how I use blacks. And I just, how I use black eyeshadow, I just realized how bad that could sound. How I use black eyeshadow is I deepen up the outer corner or like the crease or anything like that, right? So you can see here in this eye look, like that's what I used the darker shade for. So that's how I use it. And like I said, if you're looking for like a bright gold, this is not it. I don't want to swatch it because it is so powdery and I don't want to get it all over my, I don't want to get it all over my bed. I'm just in here because right now I'm like cleaning up my space, and like right now this is like the most peaceful, nice space in my house. Even though it still needs a lot of work in here too. But like I got new sheets, but a lot of people just have the same things. They don't like it. They think it's too powdery. A lot of the same complaints about the Subculture palette, you'll hear about this one. I think that if you are someone who has time and maybe you're not a beginner, this would be a good palette for you if you wanted more of like a grungy look. If you already have Subculture, I think that Subculture is probably a better formula than this. It's just Subculture's, I don't think Subculture is a vegan formula. I don't think so. If it was, I would actually really want it because I want the like electric color in there. But this one to me was a good vegan alternative. I really appreciate, I do appreciate this. And so I kind of want to try the other Venus palettes at this point. I have my eye on like the volume, I think it's the really big one. It has like these really beautiful like topper shades, and I think it's called the Venus volume. It's not the volume 2. I think it's the volume 3, or it might even be 4 at this point. I don't know. I have to double check. But yeah, I do want to kind of check out more from this brand. Honestly, the powderiness doesn't set me off. I know it sets off a lot of people, but for me, it just doesn't, because I know to only use this when I have a little bit of extra time in the morning or before I'm going to go somewhere, or I know I have to start my eye look. And I would definitely, with this one, do your eye look first and then do your base. Usually that's how I do my makeup. I do my eye look first, and then I do whatever base I'm going to do. A lot of days, like if I'm going to work, I don't wear foundation, so I'm fine. But I'll do my base after that, and then after I do my base, then I'll do my brows, and then my liner, mascara, blush, whatever, at that point, unless I'm doing like a cream blush, of course. So that's it. So that is my thoughts on that one. Now, this isn't necessarily for this palette in general, but just for the brand. Like, so many people naysay this brand, and I don't understand why. This is the only palette I own from the brand, but I've swatched other palettes and I haven't purchased them just because maybe the color store didn't speak to me, or it was just like, oh, I have all those colors already. I don't really. I own the Violet Voss, Holy Grail palette. There you go. And it looks like this. I actually got this in a Boxy Luxe box. And you can see here that I have big dips in like Cranberry Splash, Glamping, I think it's called Bat My Eyes, and Cool Beans. Like, this palette is the palette I wear. Like, if I had a job interview, which I don't, I'm happy where I currently am, but if I had a job interview, this is the palette that I would wear. The only reason this isn't my everyday go-to work palette is because I'm trying to pan the original Naked palette right now. This will replace the original Naked palette when I've finished that up. I actually prefer the formula in here. I think the formula is creamier. I think it's nicer. I do think some of these, like Glamping and Cranberry Splash, these kind of act a little bit more like satins than they do really metallics, but this like toffee color here is I think a better version of Half Baked in the of course there's a motorcycle. I think that is a better version of Half Baked that's in the Naked palette. I just think that there's so many good shades in here, and especially I think that this is a great palette for so many skin tones because you've got transition shades, you've got a lot of like cool tone browns, you've got mid-tone browns, you've got deep browns like teddy bear, you've got, you know, things that are going to show up on a variety of skin tones. And I really, really appreciate that and like it. And I really appreciate just the variety of neutrals in here. I don't think you can go wrong with this, to be honest with you. The only thing is some of the shimmers would be like Paloof, for example, here, that it's kind of hard. Like for a shimmer, I would say if you have like a really, really dark skin tone, then it would definitely show up. But if you're sort of like that, I would say maybe like 3, 4, 5 shades deeper than me, you might have trouble getting stuff to like show up on your skin tone. It's kind of hard when you are like that. So I get very, very light skin in the winter. I also live in the Pacific Northwest, so there's not a ton of sun. I do tan when there is sun, but there's no sun up here. So, or there's very little sun. I shouldn't say there's no sun, there's very little sun. But yeah, there's so many people that just talk so much smack about this brand, and I don't really know why. I'm gonna grab some tea. So, and that's the tea. I think people kind of sleep on, and I think that they have misguided opinions because this palette wasn't what people thought it was going to be. And that's the Norvina ABH Volume 1 palette. I really like this palette. Now, I have never tried the Norvina, I've never tried the ABH like formula, the regular one, because they're not vegan formulas. This Norvina palette is a vegan formula. So I'm holding it upside down so I don't blind you. But this row of like pinks and purples, and I think there is, yeah, one like gold in there. These are beautiful. You can see that I have major dip in this like rose gold shade. And then this shade over here, they don't have names, they just have numbers. This E1 shade right here, this like orangey, this pretty like orangey shimmer. It's almost like a glowy, it works so well as a glowy blush or highlighter. It's just gorgeous. I also really love this E3 mustardy shade. Like, I actually like it a little bit better than the one that's in the Venus 2 palette. I really like the mattes in here because they're kind of cream to powder formulas. If you don't like cream to powder formulas, you may not like this. Now, keep in mind that these are pressed pigments, right? They can't really call them eyeshadows because of their formulation, but they are pressed pigments. They can stain your eyelids. If that really bothers you, then maybe don't purchase this. But if you're okay with a little bit of staining, I'm telling you, the mattes blend really well, in my opinion. And this D2 shade, this is like a bluish, like a blurple. And it's like a purple with like a blue shift almost in the sparkle. It's just so pretty. The black in here is really good. There is a blue with like a matte blue with sparkle in it, which I don't love those. But all of the shimmers, except for the only one that I think is kind of a dud, is the A1. And that's like a really light lilac lavender sort of color. But all the other shimmers, I think, perform really well on the eyes. They have a lot of staying power. I do think for these shimmers, you want to use you probably want to use a base, maybe not a sticky base, but just like a slightly tacky base to give them something to hold on to, because I do think that they can have a lot of they can have fallout. So again, this is one of those ones where you want to do your eye look first and then do your base once you've cleaned everything up. Now, it is possible that you're going to have fallout throughout the day with these. So I always apply with, put like a setting spray on my brush and then apply. That has worked really well and caused like very minimal fallout at that point. But again, I feel like the more like punchy, the more intense shadows are, you're more likely to get fallout at that point. I don't think I've ever experienced not that. Except for maybe like the ColourPop formula. ColourPop formula, if you wet your brush on the metallics, they will stick to your eye pretty well and you don't get a ton of fallout. I really would like to try out some more formulas and figure out which one of those don't do that. However, I have so much eyeshadow, so I don't necessarily think purchasing more is going to be the best idea. And again, this was from, I think, a BoxyCharm, and I've never tried this. This is not a, I don't believe this is a vegan formula. So this is from Suva Beauty. This is the Protege palette. It actually has a really pretty outer packaging, and it has this like really beautiful purple color scheme, and then a really beautiful like neutral one here, and then this is like a goldish highlighter for your inner corner, and then this one over here is like more of a light purple amethyst. I've actually used both of these as face highlighters, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Now this row here, awesome, no problems whatsoever, lots of staying power, lots of sticking power. The problem is this shade here, this like purple shimmer. It's called Structure, and you can see that I have like a giant dip in that, because when I got this, oh my god, I used it so much. I love this color. Like, see the reflect on that? Like, oh my god, I love it so much. And this bronze here, not to be outdone, is very, very pretty. The only problem is that this Structure color is so, you get so much fallout. It looks like Tinkerbell sneezed all over you, right, with this. But I love the color, and like I'm willing to put up with it for the sake of the color. Color's really, really pretty. Actually, you know what, this one I will swatch, because I think this one's worth swatching. So here's, sorry, I don't mean to flip you off. But do you see how like beautiful that shift is? It's coming off gold on camera, but it is very, very like lavendery in real life. It does look much more, it does look much more true to form. And if you put this in the crease with this, this is called Poetic, so usually I would use this as like the transition or just all over the lid, and then I'd put this in the crease, and then this and this all over the lid, and it just is like, maybe now you can see it's still coming off very like goldy, but it is much more of like a beautiful shimmery lavender. It's gorgeous. I love it. But again, it is incredibly like, you get so much fallout. So what I would do is I would wear this with like a concealer, like as a eyeshadow base, and then even after that, like I would still wet my brush and make sure to put on, and even then you're still gonna get some fallout, but to me it's worth it. I just love that color. I love that color combination. I think it's beautiful. And again, I think down here, like if this was your, say like you use this as your everyday color scheme, like if you're into bronzes, neutrals, things like that, and you just want to like mix it up every once in a while with some mauves and some lavenders, this would be a great palette for you. I don't know if this is still available. I'll have to double check. And again, I don't know how much it retails for, because I got it in a BoxyCharm, but it is cruelty free. And it looks like it is 6 by, take a while to go through that. So yeah, so those are the 4 palettes that I really love that other people just don't seem to vibe with. Let me know in the comments, like, what is it, like, what are your favorites that other people are just like, ew, no, like, what do you mean? Like, are you sure? Like, I hear so much that people love, the e.l.f. bite-sized shadow ones, and I think they're fine. Like, I own the Rosewater one. I think they're good. I think they're okay. I just don't think they're the like end all be all of shadows that people like say that they are. I honestly kind of prefer the new Essence like 6-pan ones. I've been using the taupe one. I actually am wearing the 2 of the shimmers in my center, in the center of my lid today, and then everything else is from the Naked palette. I'm wearing Hustle on either side, and then I lightened it up. Hustle's like this really like deep sort of like almost black bronzy color, and I'm trying to hit pan on it, and it's really hard, and I'm like trying to not get, I'm not trying to get into a rut, right? So what I've been doing is using the using Hustle on the inner and outer corners, and then doing like a halo eye. And I've been doing that with the Essence, the new 6-pan that I got, testing that out. And I've actually really been liking it. And it is like, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock right now. And my eye look still looks pretty good. I didn't have a great time blending out the edges there, but I wear like really big glasses, so I don't really worry that much about my edges, like about the edges not being blended out great or whatever. And also it's never the shadow's fault. Like right here, I have like a spot that shadow just will not stick to. There's always a bald spot there. I don't know why. It's very rare that like a matte will fix that. I don't know why. I don't know why that happens. It happens with like every single shadow. It's not the shadow's fault. It's just that weird spot that like doesn't want to. And like I literally have to go in and like, and then what happens is this like, and you can still see like kind of a little bald spot right there. But yeah, that's what happens. And and again, I feel like I prefer the Essence formula in the taupe one, the taupe color story. I know that Kelly Gooch said she really liked the green one, but not the mauve one. So again, purples and mauves are just like really, really hard to formulate. Same thing with blues, right? Those are really hard to formulate, but yeah. So let me know in the comments down below what you are loving that other people are like, what? Are you sure? Like, have you lost your mind? And so like, and yes, lovelies, that's the tea.